We the mafia. 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 Bills mafia. Bills mafia. We the mafia. We the mafia. Bills mafia. Bills mafia. We the mafia. Bills mafia. Bills mafia.
Welcome in, Bills Mafia, to another episode of the Mafia Cast. I, of course, am your host, Ronnie Eastham. I am joined with my co-host, Casey, and, of course, we have Mike, our new producer of the show, is joining us as well. How you guys doing?
Good.
Better than the last couple days. I think I'm past it. I'm over it.
It's exciting, man. Just being here, doing this with you guys, and kind of mixed emotions, kind of like what Casey's saying too. Trying to get over that, and I don't know. We'll see what's going on.
We're very glad to have you, Mike. I mean, you've been a big supporter of the show, and I've told you that since Ronnie and I started, even before it was our own thing. You still were right there by my side, doing everything you could. And
I know. I was totally. I just love the creativity behind it all, and I just like the whole idea. You know, the Mafia Cast. It's literally the Mafia Cast. All the characters and different people doing different things, the community and the fans and the players and everybody involved. It's really just it's a great thing. And
we've got all different parts of the country. Ronnie in Idaho. I mean, you and I are in New York, but we're still over an hour away from each other. You know,
we're covered coast to coast.
Yeah, damn near. Now we need to find somebody in like Cali or something just to hop on every now and
then. We have obviously a big game coming up, and I'm kind of with you. Like Sunday, Monday was kind of like, that game. Today, kind of moving on from that, turning the page. Unfortunately, there's some news out there. We're all kind of sitting on the edge of our seats waiting to hear. But I'm just going to say this, if I could talk and breathe. And obviously we want Josh Allen on the field. We want him to be healthy, most importantly. So I kind of wanted to, first of all, ask you guys your thoughts.
It's got turned out.
If they say Allen could play, would you rather he play or go ahead and sit out a week to heal up a little bit more and see what happens this weekend? And the only reason why I kind of throw that out there is because I feel like there's a storyline of Diggs and Keenum but taking on their former team, a team that both of them were rather successful with in 2017. So I feel like that emotion right there could help them maybe not cover up necessarily, but help alleviate some of what Allen can do, and maybe they could beat the Vikings. What do you guys think?
Mike, go ahead.
I don't know. It's going to be tough. I think this is a tough game to begin with or without Allen. We're all, of course, pulling for him to be back and stuff. But if that is the case, I don't know. That's a tough call. But like you said, we do have some things going for us, definitely. And I believe in the league as a whole. You know, it's week to week, every week. You know, any team can beat any other team. I believe. You know, all the cards got to fall in the right place, and you got to make the right plays happen. So I don't know. Tough to say. I feel like we really need Allen there, and even then, I don't know. I feel like we're at this point mid-season. We're getting hung up a little, or I don't know quite what it is, or if it's just me, but it's definitely a tough game coming up.
Yeah,
I think I've said it all year. I mean, I wrote an article when we were with a previous company about why Keenum was the perfect fit for QB2 for this team, and it's because of that 2017 success. He's been a starter even before 2017. But in 2017 he took the Vikings to the NFC Championship. I mean, he did everything he could, and he played well. He earned himself a multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract with the Broncos. Did that work out? No, but that also wasn't a great Broncos team that he had around him either. I mean, he had a great team. He had Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Stephon Diggs. He had a great offense around him, and the Vikings had a stout defense. So he didn't have to do it all himself. And that's the way this team is constructed as well.
Similar.
He has
Yeah.
that same favorite wide receiver he had then in Diggs. He has a number 2 in Gabriel Davis. He's got a trio of running backs at his disposal now. That if he has to dump the ball off, and
Yeah.
the number 1 defense still in the league. So what's to say that will he put up Allen numbers? No, probably not if he has to play. But do I think the offense will sit and sputter and like run in place? No, I don't think that's the case either. I think that
Right.
he's a good quarterback, good enough to win you a few games if need be.
Yeah, I completely agree. um, so I was looking at his numbers from that 2017, and I believe it was 20 touchdowns, 22 touchdowns, something like that. Um, interceptions, I don't remember. It wasn't a lot.
It was in the single digits. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. So while the numbers weren't exactly eye popping or anything, I felt like he he did enough, right? Um, and I think the team that we have with the talent around him, he could do enough. Actually, maybe more. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you look back at the Vikings team, they were pretty similar actually to what we have now, with the exception of they had Dalvin Cook. We obviously don't have that. We have his little brother who hasn't quite got to that level yet. And I'm not saying that he, it will, but I think our defense could be the huge difference in that, right? And again, we don't want anything wrong with Josh Allen. We absolutely want him back on the field as soon as possible, or whenever that may or may not be. But this is the type of situation I think that can actually galvanize a team even more so than they already are. Like I feel like this is one of the closest knit teams in the league, but this is something that could really bring them all together and fix whatever the running defense issue is, and really just step up. I mean, you look at the Eagles from that 2017 season; they won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. Like, I would our odds take a hit? Absolutely. Is this team better with Allen? Absolutely. But they're not. It's not over. It's not a done deal if Allen can't play.
Absolutely, I completely agree. I mean, I would say that Case Keenum at this point in his career, and where Nick Foles was, and at his point in his career, I would give Case Keenum I would say he's a little better. I mean, I think he at that point in Nick Foles' career and where Keenum is now, Keenum has proved himself more than what Foles had done. That was Foles proving himself. That was his proving year. Um, I've always been somewhat of a fan of Keenum. I don't think he's the world's best quarterback. I think there's many quarterbacks out there that are much worse than him. But I also think that this might be good for the offense and for Ken Dorsey, like we kind of touched on yesterday, to where this kind of puts Ken Dorsey in a bind if Keenum has to step in, because he's not going to be able to call the same type of game plan that he can with Allen. He's going to have to probably plot his way down the field a little bit more and be more precise, and not as many, maybe not take as many shots downfield, and maybe rely on the run game and be a little bit more conservative, get the ball out quick, run more of those quick slants just to keep Keenum comfortable and get him in a rhythm and everything, and then suck the defense in order to open up those deep shots later in the game.
Yeah, and even to that point too, you think about it like this: Ken Dorsey's new to being an OC. This is his first year. He's 8 games into his OC career, and even before this, he's always had Josh Allen. This could actually force him to expand his understanding of the offense and what he wants to do, and understanding better how to utilize the other weapons other than just Josh Allen. Because I do sometimes think that Dorsey, and this is actually a topic that I want to kind of touch on a little bit more, is with Dorsey, because I do feel like he has almost fallen in love with Allen, like we all have. But as an offensive coordinator, you can't do that. You have to learn to remove those blinders and not have that tunnel vision. And I feel like that's what's happening here. Is he is enamored with Allen, with what Allen can do on the field, and it's Allen and Diggs, Allen and Diggs, Allen and Diggs. Like, we've seen in the last 2 or 3 games now with Singletary. First half of the game, he's getting utilized. He's getting some carries, and he's running well. And then it just disappears. They just stop. I'm like, which I don't get.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Mike, we'll start with you.
Yeah.
Where do you
But
think Dorsey is right now with his
well, first,
career or understanding?
I like what you're saying about how, you know, it's like it's going to get them out of their comfort zone. It might build a little confidence, you know, really appreciate what we have, you know, and give us, you know, if we do end up, if, you know, I know it's going to be tough, but if we do come out firing on all cylinders, maybe it'll, we could be even more confident going forward with Allen back, knowing that we don't have to, you know, not all hope is lost if he is gone, you know, or if anything else happens down the road, you know, knowing that we have something in our back pocket, you know, if we really need it, you know, take some of the worry away and that sort of thing. But as far as, you know, Dorsey included with all that, yeah, so he'll have to, you know, play a little differently. And like you said, I don't know, like Singletary playing a great game. I don't know how you just abandoned it that quick or what happened, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm not really sure where. I don't know what I'm trying to get at, but it's definitely going to be interesting.
It's almost like a conversation you don't want to have because you just hope that it doesn't come to this.
Yeah,
but...
it's really a tough one.
Absolutely. But it seemed like, at least in the Jets game, they established, all right, we know we can run, but I felt like Dorsey was, okay, it's time for us to pull away. It's time for us to play our game and to pull away and to just bury this team.
So
and
he just took like a big risk and it didn't work out.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seemed like. I mean, he was like, all right, let's do this. Let's play our game. They were going to live and die by what they do best, and that's throwing the football. What I kind of didn't understand was Allen not running the football as much. I know that's been a hot topic this year, but I mean, he had that 36-yard scamper into the end zone in the first half. It seemed to me like they could have done that anytime they wanted. And I understand, I mean, Devin Singletary was running okay. I wouldn't say well, like very well.
Yeah, this game was a little different.
I mean, the running backs, I mean, James
But
Cook.
the game before, yeah. But,
he had some good runs. Just kind of like Singletary, nothing eye-popping. The best run game, just like it's been the last 5 years, has been Josh Allen. But it just seemed like Dorsey was like, all right, let's do this. Like, if they're going to play like this, then if we're going to beat you at like what you do best and what we do best, and may the best man win. That's kind of what when I stepped away and kind of thought about it, that's what it kind of looked to me.
Yeah.
But I think that's also Ken Dorsey needing to mature and being like, all right, so this is what worked. I understand what we can do best on most days, but today this is what's working. So let's just ride this hand. So it's one of those give and take. Like which way do you want to go for?
Right. We sort of stuck at this point. You know, like I said, I keep saying over and over, it's a mid-season thing. We got figured out, or I don't know. Some people say that, or whatever. But yeah, it's I could see us not doing what we thought we were going to do the whole season. You know, now we got a couple losses, and that's normal. It's completely normal. But you know, we're really excited and we're really taking that to heart right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, so this is the thing that I wanted. And so I told you earlier, Casey, before we started the live show, I wanted to pull out some numbers, and I just didn't have a chance to do that. But if you look at these last 2 games, everybody keeps saying in the last 6 quarters, Buffalo's offense has been whatever. But if you look at these last 2 games, in the first half, we outscored the opponents 41-13. And we outgained them by, I don't know, a ton. I know Allen had over 200 yards in last week's game by himself. The week before that, they had 24 points by halftime. It's the second half seems to be the issue right now. the Packers and the Jets, neither one of them were really dominating the run game in that first half. And the second half, that changed. I don't know what happened. Um, from what I've watched and listened to and read, the Jets made a change. This is going to be funny. I'm not a hater or a fan of Sauce Gardner either direction, but I think the Jets realized early on in that game, Gardner can't stop Diggs. Like the first play, he burned him. Double move, see you later.
Awesome.
And
It was
the
beautiful.
Jets, to their credit, made a change. They're like, okay, let's do this. Let's put Gardner over on Davis, lock him down, and then we're going to bracket Diggs.
Yep.
Because if you look at the second quarter, about midway through the second quarter, Diggs had 5 catches for 80-something yards. I think it was 85 yards. He didn't have another catch after that. Not one.
So it was 5 for 94. And the only reason why
Okay.
I know that is because I had a parlay that had 6 catches and 95 yards. Hand to God. And I was like, I got this in the bag. This is $300 in my pocket. And of course, this is how Vegas works.
Yeah.
But I got to give props to the coaching staff of the Jets. They didn't wait until halftime to make a change. They clearly made the change beforehand and said, okay, this isn't working. Gardner, you're a rookie. You're good, but Diggs is Diggs. Like, you're not that level yet. And so I think they made that switch. What I would have liked to have seen the Buffalo do is switch up and go with some more underneath stuff. Start hitting Shakir on those underneath routes. Start getting Cook involved more in some slants and underneath plays. Singletary,
different avenues, and
and they just kept trying to push the ball down the field and push the ball downfield.
Gabe Davis was there for a while, and now he sort of disappeared a little bit, and I don't know.
What did we say in the first couple of games against the Rams and the Titans? That the biggest difference was Allen was getting the ball out quick, the fastest he's ever done in his career. And now it seems like these last 2 games, it's kind of reverted back, sort of looking like the Dable offense and holding on to the ball a little bit more, not hitting those quick plays. And we saw he had a couple short passes to McKenzie out on the boundary that he was able to get a couple of yards on, but he took what the defense was giving him. It seems like Allen hasn't been doing that lately. He's been trying to press a little bit too much. And I'm sure that it's a combination of Allen and Diggs going for those kill shots, Ken Dorsey being in the same boat, wanting to go for those kill shots. But like we said earlier, you have to take what the defense gives you. And I think that'll be an adjustment that Dorsey's able to make, or needs to make and should make.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see. Like, I'm not an X's and O's guy. I've never. Well, I won't say I never coached the game. I coached little kids. Does that count? I don't know. I don't think so.
Absolutely. It's got more experience than me and Mike have combined.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got 3 years of head coaching under my belt then.
You have more than the Colts head coach.
You wouldn't want me in there.
That's true. But no, I'd be curious to, like the All-22 and those types of things. Were there people open though? That's the question I really kind of wonder, because when you watch the broadcast, and you can watch as many times as you want, you're not going to see the whole field, so we don't know what's going on down the field. And is Shakir getting open? Like the pass, I think it was the fourth quarter, Shakir was wide open on the crosser. Like all he had to do was just hit him, and he almost threw a pick instead, like multiple feet in front of Shakir. So I wonder if it's, for whatever reason, Allen's just not on it right now, or if the receivers, and more often than not, are not getting open. I've heard both. Like everybody has their opinion.
Yeah.
It's a mix of everything.
Yeah.
I think we're just at that point right now. We've gotten complacent, and I don't know. I keep saying there's not enough pressure, or I think we need to. Strive for. I don't know. We lost the undefeated season. It ain't gonna happen, obviously. So now it's, it's sort of reality. We were living in a pretty good moment there for a while, but it's a tough league. Any week, any team can win.
Now, I think this puts that chip back on back on the shoulder.
Yeah.
I think now
Yeah.
Hope so.
everybody's starting to, in the national media, are the Bills really as good as we all thought they were going to be? You know, they're now decimated by injuries on the defense. Allen might be out. You know,
Are
have,
they who we
you know,
thought they were?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so now it's like, all right, let us show you what we are.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that same mentality they had going into that game against the Rams and the Titans.
Yeah.
You
I hope so.
you
I really do.
you think we're the big boys, or we're going against the big boys? We'll show you who the big boy is.
Yeah. But
You know,
so what does this game really mean to us? I mean, it's not a divisional game. What does it really mean in the long run for the Bills, do you think?
it's just overall record.
Right. That's so I don't know. It's going to be
Well,
another tough week, I think.
Going back to Ronnie's original
Could be.
question,
I
I
hope we
wouldn't.
come back strong, but it's just
If Allen is able to play, but he's not 100%, sit him.
yeah.
Sit him.
I'm sorry.
Agreed.
I would rather him get that extra week.
I could see the situation of he wants to play, they want to sit him.
And
You know.
Yeah.
McDermott should like
situation.
get your ass on that bench.
Yeah.
But
Get a
would you
little more
rather
rest.
play this game or would you rather play in January? Tell me.
Yeah.
You know, and you know that's
Exactly.
all
Now-
McDermott's gonna have to say to him. He's like, God damn it. All right.
I've got a buddy who's a Vikings fan, and not Scott. This is a different buddy, but he's been in my Facebook DMs since Sunday night. And then he's like, "You better hope Allen plays," you know, da 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 da. And I told him, I was like, same thing like you just said. If he's not 100%, I'd rather he not play. I think Buffalo is more than capable of beating the Vikings without Allen. I mean, look at who the Vikings have played. We talked about this last night. They haven't really beaten anybody. Their one lone, maybe shining team that they beat was the Dolphins, but that was with Bridgewater. Not that Bridgewater is a terrible quarterback, but he's a backup for a reason. And just like with, in our situation, Keenum's the backup for a reason. I get that, but I do feel like we have more around him than what Bridgewater had. So to me, the Vikings, and they've struggled to win. Like every single one of their games this year have been one-score games. Now, kudos and props to them for pulling those out. But I feel like there would be so much emotion on this game. Home game. Trey White might be on the field.
Poyer, I think White, Poyer, and Milano are all going to be back. And that's enough
feel like
for the defense alone.
Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be huge.
Yeah, it would.
And
Like my buddy was saying, he was
right.
like, if Allen doesn't play, though, that's going to affect your home field advantage potentially coming up. And I'm like, oh, again, I do think Buffalo could beat the Vikings. I get that it could affect the outcome of the number one seed if we were to lose this game. But like you said, I would rather lose that number one seed, playing late into January, than potentially lose Allen and not get the number one seed and get bounced in the wild card potentially. Yeah, So
this would put us a half game behind the Chiefs, basically. If we lose this game, Chiefs win. That's a half game. Do we think the Chiefs are going to win out the rest of the season and go 15-2? Personally, I don't
think that.
I'm sure people do. And you know what? I think the Bills are going to win out the rest of the season and go 15-2 myself. But that's being a fan, though. But taking the fandom out of it and being realistic, I could see us losing today before the season. I said we are 3 losses on paper. Like just looking at it is going to be the first Dolphins game. I got that one right. I think I've said all year this Vikings game is going to be one stressor for our defense because they have the offense they do, and the game against the Bengals on Monday night in December. I think those are going to be 3 games that we definitely had potential to drop. I didn't think we'd lose to the Jets like this. I also didn't expect the Jets to be this good. I
you think we're at 4 losses now?
I think that this will be 4 losses for Buffalo, and I thought that before Allen even got hurt. But at the same time, if Buffalo wins with or without Josh Allen, I won't be surprised one bit.
Yeah. And, that Bengals game, it depends on which Cincinnati team shows up. Like one week they look like freaking Carolina, and then the next week they look like the, defending AFC champs.
Joe Mixon dropping 5 touchdowns and 55 fantasy points.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I know. My daughter has him on her fantasy, and she was texting me Sunday. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you see what Mixon's doing?" I'm like, "Yep, I know."
I had a buddy in mine and Mike's league that was the only reason he won. Like
Yeah.
the rest of his team completely crapped the bed, and the only reason why he won is because Mixon put that up. Because the other guy he was playing, he put up 120 points, and he put up like 100 and I don't know, like 70 or something like that. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, this is just where fantasy football sucks. But
So let me go back to the Vikings game. If let's say Allen doesn't play and it is Keenum, do you guys think, like, how much do you think the game plan would change? Do you think that we would say the running game come to the forefront and being the relied on option, or do you think that they would, trust Keenum and just let him rip it like they do with Allen?
I think it'd be more 50-50. It'd probably be still 60-40. This offense is still a passing offense.
You just said 50-50 and then 60-40.
Well, I changed my mind. I changed my mind, Ronnie. I think it'll be like 60-40. I think that, it's a passing offense. We have good running backs and a good O-line, not great running backs or a great O-line. Neither one of them uplifts the other and can cover for the other's mistakes.
I don't think you can ground and pound the whole game either.
Exactly. And the Vikings run defense may have started horribly this year, but it's gotten better. And same thing with their passing defense. It's gotten better as well. So I think they're going to need to be a little bit more balanced than what they are with Allen in order to be able to use the play action game. I don't know. That's my opinion on it, I guess.
Well, but here's another point that I forgot to bring up. So how about the 5 sacks? The offensive line or teams are just they're really putting pressure on us too. So I don't know if that continues as well. You say the running defense is good, but a good defense is a good defense. If they really keep pressuring us, I don't think Keenum is in a situation like when Allen can roll out and get away, or run up the middle once in a while or whatever he has to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
there's really
a dimension of the game we're gonna miss if Allen is out. But if we do have one thing going for us, I like the idea of Allen, being a game time decision and, kind of keep them guessing. And that's always a good thing. So we know what we're doing.
Except I have Allen on. I've got Allen on just about every one of my fantasy teams, so I kind of need to know.
I feel
the two things that I guess if I was going to say that there was 2 keys for me to this game that Buffalo needs to do to win it. And I think these are probably self-explanatory, but one, like you just said, they got to protect Keenum. He's not going to run around and make plays off script like Allen does.
Yeah.
And number 2, I'm a little worried about what Dalvin Cook might do to this front 4 because the last 2 weeks we've seen Michael Carter, James Robinson, A.J. Dillon, and Aaron Jones just rip us apart.
Yeah.
I did hear that a couple of the players, Von Miller included, had made the comment that what the Jets were doing to them up front to open up those holes was the exact same thing that the Packers were doing the week prior. So hopefully Vikings don't, study that. They're going to.
And they're not watching any film.
No way.
No, not at all. But hopefully they can shore that up and as far as Buffalo goes and figure out what that is. And the players even said, we thought we had it figured out. We thought we had that issue solved, and clearly we did not. So I'm really hoping that, that kind of goes back to the whole, is there a book out on Bill's defense now or whatever. I just think that's just one of those things where somebody did find a little loophole or whatever you want to call it and say, okay, this is effective. And like every good coach should be able to do, go back and okay, this is what they were doing to us. This is what we need to do to fix it. And I just hope that they can this time, because if not, Cook's going to have a day.
Absolutely. Yeah. But we've also seen this Vikings defense get stagnant when, my wife's a huge Commanders fan. She loves Taylor Heineke. So we were glued to that game. I kept switching between that game and the Bills game. And watching it, they couldn't run the ball very well. And I understand the Commanders have a good, their defensive line is full of first round picks. But they were still missing Chase Young. But the Vikings offensive line is supposed to be one of the best in the league. And from what I've seen, it seems like they try to get the running offense going early in the game, and that's what they've been falling behind. And then it's been these fourth quarter comebacks that Kirk Cousins is pulling out of his butt and somehow and just making these miraculous plays. And you can thank Justin Jefferson for that. But that's where having Tre'Davious White back and Jordan Poyer back and Matt Milano back is going to be something to counteract those points. Buffalo's not going to let, if we have a lead going into the fourth quarter like that, like the Commanders did, up 17, they're not going to let Kirk Cousins back and score that many points.
Yeah.
Even with Keenum, the offense is going to be good enough to hold the ball and control it and get enough first downs to at least wind time off the clock or wind time off the clock and score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown.
Yeah, it's actually a good point when you talked about last week against the Commanders. They didn't have really run the game or run the ball that well. I know that for a fact because going back to fantasy football, I do have Cook on one of my, 33 teams that I have. And he had like 25 yards in the fourth quarter. And I was like, oh, come on, Cook. And then he got a receiving touchdown late in that game. But that's one reason why I'm not necessarily scared of the Vikings, because they've struggled against teams that they should not be struggling against. Like, there's a ton of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that they should be like one of the best offenses in the game, and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Because they have dumbass Kirk Cousins. And that one's for the wife.
He hate Josh.
You know, you say that. I remember when Cousins was with Washington, and they kept going year after year with this franchise tag and this and that. And I'm like, I don't get it. Cousins is putting up some numbers. He's a pretty good quarterback. Like, you could do a lot worse. Why don't they just build around him, give him the money, build around him? And then I'm like, let him go eventually. And I was like, the grass is not always greener on the other side. And Washington has not been the same since. They have struggled ever since then trying to find a quarterback. You had one.
So I say that was for the wife because she loved Kirk Cousins. She calls him her boyfriend, her number one boyfriend. And like if it's not me, if she's not married to me, she's going straight to Kirk. So that was a little dig for me to Kirk. But I don't know. I agree with you. I didn't really understand. I thought he was good enough to build a team around. He wasn't going to elevate everybody, but if you had decent players like Terry McLaurin, like Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, the running back group that they have, Logan Thomas, that defensive line, they would be right. I think they'd be 6-2, just like the rest of the NFC.
Yeah.
I mean, Heineke, he's doing his job. He's doing like just enough. Is he going to be a starter for the rest of his life in the NFL? No, probably not. But he's going to end up somebody like a Keenum or a Teddy Bridgewater who's going to travel from team to team and be able to step in and win you a game or two or three or four.
I like Heineke's heart. I don't think the arm talent is necessarily there, but I just love the way he plays.
Absolutely. He gives
110%. Yeah, he does. The next thing I was just thinking while you guys were talking about this, and you mentioned Trey White. If he does come back, do you guys think he plays 100 or let's say 80% of the snaps, or do you think he's on a snap count? And we've kind of talked about this a little bit last night too, on last night's show. But personally, I don't think they just throw him out there for a whole game. I don't see how you can. He hasn't played in a year. There's going to be some rust. There's going to be some achy muscles. I mean, he's got to get back into game shape, and you can't do that unless you play. There's just no way to get in game shape without playing in the games. So I don't see them just throwing him out there full go. But what do you guys think?
So just from like past experiences, like watching like Buffalo and the way they bring players back, they hold them out as long as they possibly can, but they still throw them into the fire. And when Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano got hurt in the last couple seasons, they sat him out, for a couple, like maybe an extra game or two when all the fans were like, I thought he was going to be ready. I thought he was going to be ready. Just kind of like what they've been doing with Trey White this year. And then they came out and bam, full speed, full go ahead. I wouldn't be surprised with this game coming up, especially if Josh doesn't play. McDermott's going to say, "Hey, you get out there because Elam
We
is
need
now
you.
Elam's a little hobbled, so we're looking at either Dane Jackson and Christian Benford platooning or playing together. If Elam can't go, Rousseau is now called designated week to week because of a high ankle sprain I saw today, which
Yeah.
who knows how much truth there is to that. I mean, I personally at this point I don't expect him to play on Sunday, but if he does, again, he'll be on a low snap count and be there situationally as a designated pass rusher. But Trey White, I think especially if Josh doesn't play, they're going to be like, it's time. Like, let's go, let's do this. And he's going to be itching for that. And he
Oh
also
yeah.
gets to go against Stephon Diggs in practice every week. There's his test. There's his litmus. He can play. He gets to go against a top 3 wide receiver every single day in practice. Is
Has
that
he
the
been
same?
practicing without the non-contact jersey?
Yeah.
I haven't noticed. He is.
Yep.
He's full
So
contact practice.
yeah, so
Nice.
he's been available. I mean, he's working his way back, and I think that's just the way that the Bills are trying to get him into game shape. All right, go run against Stephon Diggs. Let's see how you do. Can you keep up? Are you still the same Tre'Davious White? And I think that I'm sure he has been. I have all the faith in the world in Trey White. I can't wait to wear his jersey on Sunday. I have a little tradition to where I wear a jersey until we lose. And then the next game I switch to the next jersey. The next jersey in the rotation is Tre'Davious White. So I am just so excited for this game on Sunday.
All right.
I bet you
But I
had a
can
hard
see
time finding a jersey to wear during the drought.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had one and it was my Jim Kelly jersey. And I was like, well, here we go.
Put this back out.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a rough 17 years, man. I
Well, how
tell
about
Maybe it
you.
was my fault.
So if they do decide to rest Allen this week, do you think they'd rest White too? Do you think that could be a thing? If we're not going to have all of our starters, or let's just kick it back a notch. Do you think that's possible at all?
I
Or
think
do
that
you really think?
I think that's what they did against the Jets
Yeah,
with
right.
Milano and Poyer. I think that they were in white. They were just saying
Yeah,
just what they did against Pittsburgh. They sat out Poyer. They sat out White.
yeah,
He sat out basically anybody. If you had an injury designation, you didn't play.
yeah.
That was just so much more inferior football team compared to what we're going to be going against on Sunday. I think that they sat everybody out last week in order to get ready for this game, obviously, and not knowing Allen was going to be hurt. But I think they were doing that in order to get this team as much 100% together starting this week as they could.
Yeah.
And we still have a ton of injuries,
Yeah.
even if those guys come back. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, this season has been insane for the injuries.
Yeah.
Like Kristen said, we're paying the piper for the last couple of
Yeah.
years.
I think myself personally, I think if Allen is out, I agree with Casey. I think White plays for sure.
Yeah.
Whether he plays the whole game or not, I'm not sure about that. But I do think to get that emotional lift, because like I said, if Allen's not out there and White's not out there, imagine the emotional aspect of the game on this team. Like they need something right now. They need something that they can, rally around type of situation. And if Allen's out, that person becomes White. And I think they get him out there on the field, and the team, gets pumped. Bills Mafia is going nuts because their guys back out there. And I mean, my hope personally is that we get out there and we smack the Vikings around early and quick, and we get up a lead and we don't look back. But I don't think that's going to happen. I do think it's going to be a close game. This is the first time all season I feel like it's going to be a close game. But
Mike, hey, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree all around. Yeah, I don't know. Part of me thinks that we're also maybe we're thinking long term in the season here, and I don't think it's do or die right now. I don't think there is into it as they could be. If we are 100% healthy, all going there guns blazing. I mean, I feel like we got to kick it back a notch. Maybe I don't know, but we really got to start taking care of our health better somehow. I mean, I don't know. You're playing at that level, and things happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a tough situation right now. It really
See,
is.
I do think it's been kind of the injuries has been a little fluky. Like we've been 3 or 4 years healthy, one of the healthier teams in the league,
if not,
and it's just
the
one of those things that happens.
I mean, and we also got to look at what the injuries are. There haven't been, the hamstring injuries. It's nothing like that. It's not no calf injury. It's no muscle strains. So it's nothing that like the training staff can prevent. It's football injuries. It's just getting hit hard. Your body bending the wrong way and stuff like that. I mean, it's a rolled ankle. It's an elbow that's you're trying to push forward and it's being pulled back at the same time. It's and then same thing with Poyer, same with the elbow, getting hit in the wrong way. So it's nothing that can really be prevented,
Yeah.
Right.
It's
But
not
now
like they're out of shape.
Yeah, and it's not like the training staff isn't doing their job. I mean, the Bills are touted as having one of the best training staffs and training facilities in the whole NFL.
Yeah.
For as shitty as our stadium is, it's just I love it. I love our training staff.
So Ronnie made the point. What was it that I'm losing track now. I was listening too much.
About the health.
So nah, go ahead. Sorry. I'll think of it again.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know that Gregory Rousseau will play this week. I have confidence in Boogie Basham and the rest of that defensive front, even if he's not. In fact, that reminds me, this Vikings buddy of mine that's been in my Facebook DMs all damn day. He made the comment about something about, I don't know who you got rushing, but they're not getting past whatever their left tackle is in. It's like, I don't know, it's some guy named Von Miller. You may have heard of him.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
He's all right.
Yeah. I think I remember
He's all right.
So it's kind of a crazy take, but you're talking about how there's more injuries, it seems, this year. Are we being more careful? Are we really taking a step back and looking at the players' health and saying, do we have less of players that are just playing through injuries, acting like they're okay, not getting checked out? Do you think now that we're playing to a higher caliber, we're really taking our time and being more serious? If you are even just shaking up a little bit. I don't know. Do you feel like that could be a thing?
I think that's exactly what they've done with Trey White all year. I think they're taking
not just him. I mean, like everybody. I don't know.
I mean, Poyer. I mean, I think that's why Poyer didn't play a snap in the preseason.
Yeah. But injury obvious, Allen. I mean, you could see what happened to his elbow.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. But like the ankle sprain, you didn't hear much of it. I didn't really. Like you said, it's been going on for weeks. I wasn't aware of that.
And then Elam, I mean, that's a whole question. I haven't heard much about him. I just know that he left the game. I don't remember if he came back in or not, to be completely honest. But Benford was also playing well.
Yeah,
they started
being really cautious right now, knowing that hopefully we have a bright future this season.
Looking long term. Yeah, you're probably right.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's almost like we didn't have a bye week. Like teams are supposed to come out of bye weeks healthier.
Yeah.
That has not been the case, and I really hope that going forward that we put all these injuries behind us, and we can go into the latter part of the season and down the stretch in the playoffs as they're making that push 100% healthy. Well, not 100% healthy because you're never going to be 100% healthy at that point in the NFL season. But and all of this, and kind of going back to. Yeah. So we're talking about all these injuries, and then going back to what the Jets did as far as how they handled Diggs and Davis. We got OBJ out there, guys. And I know there's a lot of people that don't want him for whatever reason. But right now, if defenses are going to take care, or not take care of necessarily, but if they're going to attack our offense in that fashion where they're putting their number one guy on Davis and then bracketing Diggs, somebody like OBJ could have a field day. And that's what we need. We need somebody to force defenses out of what they're doing right now. And that, to me,
we could
he's
very
somebody that
well
can do
use
that.
another weapon. And I'm like up in the air with the whole thing. But the way I look at it recently is that I'd like to see him here because I don't want to see him go anywhere else. You know what I mean?
That's just of a good reason to want him as any.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's look big picture. McKenzie hasn't panned out the way we expected him to. Shakir just hasn't been given the opportunity. When he flourished with 4 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can never have too many weapons. So when people in Bills Mafia say, we don't need Diggs. I don't want Diggs. He's a cancer. He's this. He's that. Why would you not want another weapon? I'd like at your disposal. Yeah, I don't understand why people wouldn't want a third weapon, a fourth weapon, a fifth weapon. Don't you want your team to be as good as possible so you get the best players you can possibly get? I think it's going to be whatever deal he signs. It's going to be a multi-year deal. And I don't blame him. He's been hopping team to team. So
Have
now
you heard the rumor?
What? That he's going to be a Cowboy?
Well, that's popped up. But no, there's a rumor out there that he's already agreed to come to Buffalo on a 2-year incentive-laden deal.
Yes.
And that they're just waiting for him to be able to clear
which would be Friday.
Physicals,
yeah.
In order to sign him.
That will be Friday.
I was hearing this morning that he's like one of those players that never got the big payday because of the injuries, and he's just coming off of that. So you'd have to have like a shorter term deal, see what you got, kind of back to square one. Not exactly, because he is a great receiver.
He was on his way to Super Bowl MVP last year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a question in my mind.
I know you feel like
he was
injuries
Super Bowl MVP.
can bring these guys down, but they really don't. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Look at the way players
talk. I heard about this Tommy John surgery, and they're talking about MLB pitchers come back stronger than ever. So I'm like,
yeah, I actually thought about that. So because that's a known thing where pitchers go out there, they get the Tommy John, and I've even heard some pitchers voluntarily go do it. They don't need it, but they do it anyways.
Like it's hurting
because it literally adds miles per hour to their fastball.
Crazy.
Could you imagine Josh Allen?
Yeah.
I mean, he already throws 200 miles an hour.
Exactly. People should be thankful he never played. I mean, he didn't go into MLB, dude.
Yeah.
Hitters would never get a hit off him.
Oh man!
Imagine taking one of the rib cage off that guy.
So we're gonna kind of move on into this next piece, and it's gonna be a little difficult because we don't know what's going on with Josh Allen. We don't know if he's gonna play or not. But this is what we do every Tuesday is we give our score predictions. We're not going to change that today just because we don't have a clue. So we'll start with you, Mike. What do you think?
Last week either, apparently.
None of us did.
Yeah.
None of us did.
We got roasted a little bit on TikTok from that video that Mike made.
Good.
Some people were giving us some shit.
We can take it.
You need it.
Hey,
it's good for you.
It's deserved, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Feels
Take it on the chin and move on.
Yeah. So
all right. So what you got this week, Mike?
Get it, Mike.
So I was gonna say it's gonna be a really tight game. Bills, man, they hurt me this past week. They really did. And I think we're at some mid-season slump here. We're dialing it back. We're being very careful. Allen, Keenum, who knows? I was gonna say it's gonna be a 1-point game, but with the uncertainty, I'm just gonna give it a couple more points. I was gonna say 35-36 in the beginning, Vikings, but now I'm gonna say 31-34 Vikings. And just, I don't know. It's tough for me right now. I was really confident.
I mean, understandable.
And man, they sent me for a loop. So I'm gonna be bold the other way now. And
counteract.
I'll get better at this eventually.
I like the mind game you're playing.
Yeah. So 31-34 Vikings. I hate to say it, but man.
Ronnie, go ahead, man. What you got, buddy?
I can't pick against my boys. I can't do it. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be 36-7 6 or anything like that, like we did last week. But I do think that whether it's Allen or um, Keenum, I think Buffalo pulls it out. And we're gonna just throw
I'm
this
on
up
it.
here really quick. There you go. I mean, I
Try
was
not
just
to
gonna
get
say,
roasted on TikTok.
that's a typical Bills fan overreacting.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. It's a tough situation. Trying not to be biased, man.
It is. It really is. But no, I'm
Nailing
going to
the score
go actually.
prediction's tough.
I'm going to go 27-24 Buffalo.
All right.
I should have went
I like
first.
that.
Did I just steal your score?
No, I was going to say 28-24. I think it's going to be 28-24 and with a fourth quarter comeback by Case Keenum. I
Really?
think he's going to be like, hey, remember what I did for you guys? Now I'm going to show you. It's my turn to do it again.
That is honestly the thing that for me, why I have hope that the Bills can win this, because I just feel like they're going to be on such an emotional high with White coming back, the storyline of Diggs and Keenum and taking on their former team.
Diggs is out for vengeance.
Oh yeah, he wants to light them up.
He's gonna go on a tear, and I'm sorry, but he's got Patrick Peterson against him. 5 years ago, I'd be like, ooh. Now I'm like, let him eat. He's not. Patrick Peterson is not going to be able to keep up speed wise with him.
Yeah. Well, then you got the storyline of the brother versus brother too. I mean, there's a lot going on in this game.
There is, there really is, and I love this. I love this kind of football for this reason, because what storyline is going to prevail?
How about little brother beats big brother? Yeah,
exactly.
I was just gonna say, wouldn't that be hilarious if little brother has more yards?
Yeah, I want to be a fan, but I also want to be right. So it's
and Mike, now you got to root against your fantasy football team.
Yeah, that too. Jefferson and Cook.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing, this is the last thing we're going to talk about. We got some pretty exciting stuff going on over here with the Mafia Cast. And while that's on my mind, before we get into this new partnership that we're going to talk about, if you're watching, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is that you're listening to it, please hit the subscribe, activate the little bell, share it, like it, rate it, review it, whatever it is that your respective site wants you to do. We ask that you please do that. I also wanted to say one last thing before we get to the partnerships. We did set a goal today for some new subscribers of 12. We didn't quite get there, but we did get 8 new subscribers today. So that is super awesome.
Yeah.
And Bills Mafia, you're rocking. We appreciate all of you that are, supporting the show. So I'm going to let you guys handle this partnership because, it's kind of a family thing. So take it away.
So, Mike, I'll kick it off. So we're partnering with a local bakery in Rochester called Spoon Liquor Cakery. And what they're going to do is they're going to be around and helping us also partner with the Bills Mafia Babes. So we're going to start Spoon Liquor Cakery is going to start showing up to events throughout New York with the Bills Mafia Babes and helping support whatever donations they're looking for, whether it's just setting up a booth and making their cookies or making their own cookies and using those proceeds to go to the charity that the Bills Mafia Babes are focused on that month. What Spoon Liquor is doing for us is partnering with us and supplying our site cookies of our logos and everything. So it's just something that's incredible. My sister runs it. She runs it out of Mike's house and her house. She's done this for years, and she's phenomenal at it. She's just so incredibly talented. Mike, I know you're there to help out in the taste tester, but
I've had a few.
It's so much fun. It's cool to see. It's cool to see somebody do what they're passionate about and be very good at it. Yeah. And so we're just trying to grow each other's brand, and so starting next week, we'll have a new sponsorship that's going to be sponsoring the show.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and that's pretty much what it's all about, getting back to the whole Mafia Cast thing, it's all of us together working towards that one thing. trying to help out and do the best we can. Trying to get the word out there and like I
building
said,
for and with each other.
right. Mm-hmm.
We're all in this together. We're all supporting Buffalo the way it's all, like Mike mentioned last night, Buffalo. It's all, we're all Bills fans. We're all trying to do our own thing here, whether it's donate to a good cause or this podcast or a bakery or whatever. If we can all help out each other, then we're all going to be willing to do it. And I'm thankful as can be for it. And from everybody that's helped Ronnie and I, between my sister, you, Mike, the Bills Mafia babes, Jay Spence the King. I mean, we wouldn't be here without all of you guys. So this is great. We thank everybody for it, and we're really excited to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, it is exciting. It is exciting. And it's still the beginning, So she's come a long way in the past few years, and registered as a home baker, and just doing custom orders for all different events, and checking out different shows here and there, and just doing our thing there, staying creative, and obviously supporting the Bills too. She's always doing Bills cookies, jerseys, helmets, whatever. So
those are incredible.
Your tailgate needs, your business party needs, all that sort of stuff. She's got it covered, and they taste good too. They don't just look good.
That's a plus.
Yeah.
We will, going forward, provide more information as well to our listeners on how you can get in contact with the bakery to place orders and stuff. And we do plan on doing some contests throughout the year on the show that will involve the baked goods and whatnot. So really excited about doing that. Casey, you mentioned some shout outs a while ago: Jay Spence the King, Joe Miller, obviously the Mafia Babes, and Kristen Kimmick. I also want to throw one out to Andy over with the NFL Outdated. Great guy. I've been on a few of his shows, and he's honestly the reason why I went into the vidcasting rather than just the podcasting, because he found me on Twitter, reached out, was like, "Hey, I want to bring you on the show, talk Bills." So I went on there. First time I'd ever been on camera as far as a vidcast, and people were commenting, and we got to interact with him, and I loved it. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So we moved everything from the podcast into the vidcast, and now here we are. And he continues to shout us out and continues to retweet our shows. And so there's a lot of people out there that have helped make this show where it is to this point. And we're not done. We are not stopping. We've got goals, and we're going to get there. It's going to take some time. We know that. We're all about the grind.
That's right.
Let's make it happen, guys. We do it all together.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. So we are just about at time. We're literally like 40 seconds away from an hour. Anything you guys want to say for like 40 seconds?
Yes. So in 2 weeks, Mike and I will be at the Browns game.
Yes.
Everybody, we will be in the Hammerlot. We will be hanging out with Kristen Kimmick. We're going to be there watching Pinto Ron.
We'll have spoon liquor cookies.
We'll have spoon liquor cookies for everybody to try, so that way you can get your own taste. Come out, check us out. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, and I think Ronnie might somehow make a special appearance too. And somebody's going to end up going through a table. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's going to be somebody.
Oh my God.
So be sure to be on the lookout for us in Hammerlot.
That's awesome. Perfect timing. 1 minute. All right, guys, we are going to get out of here. We'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend, and go Bills.
Go Bills.